All right, y'all. We are back with another article, and this time I have Texas Mom with me because she is a financial genius. She's going to be weighing in on the topic for today's discussion.
Yes, I am.
And I told Matt that I always have to overemphasize the fact that I'm talking into a microphone. It's like fulfilling an inner DJ. I don't know. I don't know why I always feel like I got to lean into the mic. I'll tell you one reason why I do it is because some people that produce really good content, but their audio is not good. I'm like, oh man, if they would just fix the audio. And so that's one reason why we want to bring you good audio. That's why I'm wearing these ridiculous headphones.
We're trying. We're trying.
It's quality control, y'all. Quality control.
So welcome. And
all right, y'all. I'm going to get into the article. We're going to share screen. This comes to us from Market Watch. I'll link the article down below. It's a brief article. It was kind of the article is interesting and is why I felt the need that I need to share it, because there is a lot of hoopla and hooey, especially in the social media space, especially in this postmodern, post-truth world that we live in, and some people that don't want to recognize reality. And so I thought this article was very interesting.
Did you say interesting?
Interesting.
Or interesting?
It's interesting and interesting,
Okay.
Depending on which part of the meridian line you're on or something. I don't know where the cutoff is. If that's the Mason-Dixon line, okay. I don't know.
Read it to us.
Hedge fund giant Elliott warns looming hyperinflation could lead to global societal collapse. So now, all of a sudden, you have hedge fund managers that are talking about the potential of the disruptive power of what's going on with supply chains, and the supply chains is what is creating some of the hyperinflation, along with the easy money and all that stuff. By the way, we just had another Fed rate increase, almost an entire 0.75. The real estate market is officially crashing. So if you are looking for dirt, keep looking, and you're going to find that prices continue to drop. And so if you're sitting on some cash, it's not a bad thing. Elliott contends markets have not fallen far enough, and the world is hurtling towards the worst financial crisis since World War II. Now, this guy, obviously, he must wear a tinfoil hat, and he's probably a doomsday prepper. He's already got his bunker, and he's just creating fear and all that stuff, because a lot more people are going to invest with him if he tells them the sky is falling and we are going to have a global societal collapse.
Yeah, it's kind of risky for your professional.
Well, see, as a venture capitalist, you can buy long and buy short. So you do win both ways. You can. And since it is all manipulated, and if you have enough money, you're definitely going to win both ways. Just ask. Well, I don't think you can actually say his name online. Soros Joros.
Oh, I know that.
Just ask Soros Joros, and you can't say his name online, which is interesting. And a lot of the stuff, like the 60 Minutes interview that he did, has been scrubbed relatively exclusively from the internet. A lot of the different print interviews he's done where he talks about a God complex and he fancies himself, he has a Messiah complex and all this stuff. Yeah, that guy. Soros Joros. He's an interesting caricature.
Soros.
Comic book status.
Okay.
That's executives at the leading hedge fund firm, Elliott Management Corp, warning that the world, not America, y'all, that the world is heading toward the worst financial crisis since World War II. In a letter sent to investors and reportedly seen by the Financial Times, the Florida headquartered firm told clients that it believes the global economy is in an extremely challenging situation that could lead to hyperinflation. Now, the other reason why I thought that this was very interesting and important, I'm going to keep my place here, scroll down, is all these financial guys, well, if America's in trouble, you can go to emerging markets and this and that and the other. And my contention has been there's no safe haven, right? And that's how they're going to do the central bank digital currency. And that's why all the countries are conforming with CBDC and the new PM in the UK. Interesting feller, lots of very interesting ties, very, very big pro central bank digital currency. And but this hedge fund manager is saying this is going to be a global deal, which is what they want it to be. They want it to be a global deal so that they can implement all the global stuff that they've been implementing for the last 2.5 years. The firm, led by billionaire Paul Singer and Jonathan Pollock, told its clients that investors should not assume they have seen everything because they have been through the peaks and troughs of the '87 crash, the dot-com boom and bust, and the 2008 global financial crisis and previous bear and bull markets. And we have been, up until last year, experiencing an incredibly long bull market, a historically long bull market. And I did not experience the '87 crash except as a child. I did experience the dot-com bust when I was in the financial planning field. I had just started, and then I did get to experiencing the '08 global financial crisis.
Good memories.
So I got to experience those great experiences, pleasant experiences. But the dot-com bust and the '08 crisis were drops in the bucket compared to the potential of what could potentially happen, which it is going to happen. I mean, I thought this would have happened a long time ago, as I've lamented in the past, but eventually the shoe has to drop. It added that the extraordinary period of cheap money is coming to an end and has made possible a set of outcomes that would be at or beyond the boundaries of the entire post-World War II period. Now, there's a common denominator that I want to point out as well. There's a fly on my hand. He keeps referencing the World War II.
Yes.
There is something looming on the horizon that may or may not have already started, and it does involve the world, and it does involve a war. So history doesn't always repeat itself, but it does rhyme. So there's that. The letter reportedly said the world is on the path to hyperinflation, which could lead to global societal collapse and civil or international strife. Now, the only way that we can have global hyperinflation is also because all the other financial markets have been doing all the same manipulation, shenanigans, and easy money, right? And eventually the chickens have to come home to roost. And that is what is happening. And Elliott is recognizing this, and he's just a hedge fund guy, right? He's not some social media tinfoil hat guy. He's not Alex Jones. He's not, all these prepper channels that just, they're just all about scaring people.
No, not at all. The Lord's in control, right? But we're supposed to be sober and be aware of the times.
That's true.
Trust the Lord.
Elliott reportedly argued that markets, that's why I want a Texas mom on here. Texas mom is this calm voice of reason. That's just keeps everything calm.
Hey, we're not of the spirit of fear. Being aware of things is very good. It helps you to trust the Lord more and not focus on the fear. I mean, the fear will take you down a rabbit hole.
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
want to do that.
It'll make you scared.
Yeah, we don't need to function in fear.
That's very true.
as Christians,
Very
I'm
well
saying,
stated, Texas Mom.
we should not be, as humans, we should not be functioning in fear, but especially as Christians, we don't want to operate on a fear base. I mean, we should have the fear of the Lord, but that's a different story.
Fear God. Elliott reportedly argued that the markets have not fallen enough yet, and that an equity market's decline of more than 50% would be normal, adding that it couldn't predict when that would happen. The S&P SPX has dropped 19% from its peak at the beginning of the year. That's quite a bit, y'all. It's been artificially ballooned, so there's that too. Elliott executives warn clients that the idea that we will not panic because we have seen this before does not comport with the current facts. And this is what I saw when they did the whole tarpy thing, I forget what TARP stands for, but another thing a TARP is used for is to cover something up. So when we had that mortgage crisis and our puppet president said we have to abandon free market principles to protect the free market. And I said, wait a minute, if you abandon free market principles, then once you abandon those principles, you can no longer use any of those metrics. Some people trade on charts, right? And candles and teacup handles and buy and sell spreads and different things. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Once you abandon principles, because there are different theories for each one of these trading strategies, when you abandon those principles, you can no longer you can't even have a strategy because there's nothing fundamental. You can't use any basic fundamentals when it comes to buying or selling because all the bets are off. There are no more fundamentals when you abandon those principles. And that's why 50%, 80%, 100%. I mean, who knows what this thing's going to do? And like I've said, and I got out of the market in 2008 by the grace of God, and I did very well. I have not touched the market. I have not considered the market. I follow it because I'm interested in watching what it will do. And I spent a lot of time in that field, but I have no desire to even touch the market. And it's my opinion to avoid the market like the plague. And it's exclusively now. When has a venture capitalist hedge fund manager ever said anything like this?
Well, they're prepping everyone.
Right. He says, we will not panic because we've seen this before, does not comport with the current facts. He's saying that this is unprecedented and this could go to who knows what. This is undeterminable. Nobody knows. They blame central bank policymakers for the current global economic situation, saying they have been dishonest about the reasons for high inflation. Hey, whether they had been dishonest about it or not, they kept the rate too low for too long. They kept the money way too loose. All the QE was just purely liquidity. It was, and what was that? That was a complete and total reckless abandon of any type of monetary policy, any type of monetary fundamentals. I mean, anybody could say when you flood a market with hundreds of trillions of dollars, really, really, really bad things would happen. Okay. And that's what's happened. And that's what's happening. And now when you have a base rate, mortgage rates were at 7% before the 3/4. I haven't checked them lately, but they got to be getting real close to 8 now. When me and Texas Mom bought our first house, we were that was in 99. We were coming out of that higher interest rates, and our first mortgage was 9.99. And nobody since 1999, we've not seen anywhere type of rates like that since 1999. And we've had lots of ups and downs, and it's just been full bunch of, I mean, I would call them drunken sailors, but it's defamatory towards drunken sailors. It doesn't properly represent drunken sailors, what they've been doing to our monetary policy. So they're blaming central banks for being dishonest. They said lawmakers had shirked responsibility by blaming it on supply chain disruption caused by the pandemic instead of citing the loose monetary policy imposed 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Come on. 2 years ago. Try 20 years ago. Try, okay, be conservative. Say 2008. Say TARP. Okay, start with TARP or start with 2008 and start with quantitative easing, right? And talk about and start with how they've been buying back the bonds, right? The government bonds. And that is all multiple levels of additional liquidity. And
Well,
they just.
And we saw how they did manipulate the global economic situation worldwide. They're still manipulating it, but definitely in the past 2 years, we all got to witness firsthand how they were able to come down Main Street and close all of the businesses that they wanted closed,
we don't want to talk about that.
Allow them to
need amnesty
to be open at certain hours, and then now you're closed again, and so I mean, and then globally, I mean, we saw a lot of different things happen with the way they manipulated travel and the cruise industry and every industry, the food industry. I mean, everything was globally manipulated. And talk about abandoning free market principles.
Well, and these guys,
I mean, they abandoned everything.
Yeah, and check this out. The final little quip of this article. The FT reported that the hedge fund has posted a 6.4 return so far this year, which is impressive, right? Mm-hmm. Considering this year, and has only lost money during 2 years of its 45-year history. So these guys obviously understand a little bit about what's going on. They understand from their track record how to respond and react to all these different ups and downs, and whether it's 1985, whether it's 2008, whether it's 1999 and the dot-com. They properly responded to all those things because they've only lost money during 2 of the 45 years. But what are they saying now? They're saying, holy guacamole. Mm-hmm. They're saying, uh-oh. Mm-hmm. They're saying, buckle your seatbelt, right? Which means that their funds that they're managing, because they're telling their clients this, hey, buckle your seatbelt. We don't know where this thing's going.
Right. I mean, nobody really knows where this thing's going. I mean, the way that they're able to manipulate everything. I think that's interesting.
Oh, were you still?
Yeah, this note here where it says, see how activists at Elliott Management were in conversation with executives at PayPal after revealing a stake in the firm. So these guys are on the cutting edge of.
They're on the inside.
The inside scoop. Mm-hmm. They're stakeholders with PayPal. So
these venture capitalist guys think Epstein. All right, because those are the kind of, think Bernie Madoff, think Epstein, think of all the other Ponzi scheme guys, and they're all Ponzi schemes. It's all Ponzi schemes. It's all money. It's a shell game.
Right, and they know. I mean, a part of me is like they leak out these bits of information just to kind of lay out this scenario. That way, you're not shocked when it all happens, because they're just kind of letting you know what's coming down the road. I mean,
I loved having Texas Mom on, y'all. It's like, this has got like a real redacted vibe to it, like Clayton Morris and his wife, as they talk about like geospatial, political, economic.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, the way that we've seen every economy manipulated over the past few years. It's crazy. Look at what they did to the truckers, right? Look what they did to the food industry. Look what they're still doing right now with the chicken and poultry industry.
Chicken, poultry, gas,
yes,
propane.
I mean, and the
petroleum.
So we don't fear
lumber.
So what do we do?
Building products.
Senor Tejas. What are some steps? Give us some hope, Senor Tejas.
Oh, well, it's all getting ready to crash. There's no hope. Just buckle your seatbelt. No, I mean, everything we've already talked about is, what you should be doing. I mean, I've talked about getting out. Please, something very simple to do is get out of the market. Even if it's just a temporary, you want to stand on the sidelines and watch. And guess what? If you had to for 5 years, it definitely wouldn't hurt you. Mm-hmm. If there's any value there, you'll easily be able to buy back in if there's anything to buy back into. What will happen with with a gigantic market correction or collapse or whatever you want to call it, the pension funds will fold because all the pension funds have been forced into the market. It didn't used to be that way, y'all. They used to be in fixed investments and different things. But the part of the way to capture all the money is to force everybody. It's this false paradigm that was literally created by the Weimar Republic and by the Nazis, right? It was this concept of retirement, right? And they said, we have all of these people and we'll tell them that they can retire at age 65. And we're cool with it because right now, the average age of death is 62. So if we tell them that they can retire at 65, they'll be dead by the time they can collect the money. So they started this whole retirement scam thing, which was there was never any type of American or any societal concept of retirement where you work this job and then you retire and drown worms or spray weed and feed on your front yard. That concept never existed. It was started by the Germans, and then we brought all the Operation Paperclip guys over here, and they're like, oh, we should do that over here because all that evil, crazy stuff we did over there and all those experimentals and stuff, we should do it over here. So we started doing it over here, came up with this idea of you can retire at 65, right? And at that time, there was very good fixed products with very good interest rates, even CDs and whatnot at 10%, 12%, 15%, depending on the duration. All that evaporated. When that evaporated, it forced everyone into the market. You need an average annual rate of return of 8% to meet your financial goals and retire by 65. For every 2% of return you drop, you extend your retirement age. I forget what the standard, like 5 years or 10 years or whatever. So everybody had to get a minimum of 8%. Most people have to get 10%. The only place you're getting that is in the market, and 98% of all investments fail. Proven fact. I mean, these hedge fund guys, they don't fail. The pre-market guys, they don't fail. But 98% of the average dude fails in investing. And everybody's going to say, oh, that's not true. Well, that's a statistical fact. So, and then there's whatever's coming, and that's going to finish the rest of them off. I'm just telling you. So you make all the average people, you force them into the market, you force all these pension funds into the market. That market collapses. Well, the only way you're going to recover your retirement is the federal government's going to have to come back in and plunge protection team, right, which they already have, but now they're going to have the pension protection team. And they're going to stuff a bunch of federal bucks in there. And then it's going to be, oh, well, this is now the MyRA, and we control it, and we own it, and we'll divvy it out to you. And we're going to pay you in central bank digital currency. I mean, as long as your social credit score is right, as long as you think right and say right, and as long as you're not committing any pre-crimes in your thought process, and as long as you say all the right things in the jargons, and as long as you go through the re-education camps, absolutely, and you speak properly, then you get all this stuff. And I mean, another recommendation is if you are involved in the BEAST system, so you work for any type of federal whatever, right? your money comes from the beast. All right. And it has strings, and it'll always have strings. And when they continue to implement all their stuffs, so whether you're military or whether you're even, fire department, whatever, if your money's coming from the beast, if you're on the beast payroll, you're the tip of the spear as far as for all the experimentation. Okay. So you're first in line.
And they're rolling it out right now in real life, in real time, if anyone wants to get to experience it on social media.
Right. Yeah. Welcome to them too. Them too.
They're just practicing.
Remember us? We got another week at the re-education camp where we're going to come out swinging. We're going to say all the right things. And everybody's like, oh, you need to lay low. Okay. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, Texas Mom. I think we covered the article.
I think we did.
Thanks for coming home with me, Texas Mom.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
I was just thinking too that you said 98% of investments fail in the market, but I would probably say, this is my crazy mom guess, that probably 98% of real estate investments thrive. There's not very many bad decisions I don't think you can make with real estate, as long as you
if you buy right,
are buying right and being smart about
can't
it.
sell wrong.
No, it's really hard to sell wrong with real estate.
If you buy right. I mean, you can always overpay and buy swampland and make dumb.
But even if you overpay, right, sometimes it still works out good. I mean, we
overpaid.
Curtis Stone was saying that he way overpaid for his house in town. And his dad was like, you're crazy to pay that much money for that house in town.
Good point.
And the market's going to crash and it's all going to, all this stuff's going to happen. You shouldn't be buying a house in town. And then they put in even more
infrastructure
money and infrastructure into it. And he just made out so well with that house when they sold it and walked away from it still. So it is, I would say, with all of our real estate investment that we've done, which is not a whole lot. I mean, we're not real estate gurus or anything, but we've dabbled in real estate here and there
substantially.
And
we've done a lot of real estate deals,
and we've only really lost out once, and that was outside of our control.
Well, yeah, I always like to just ignore that one.
Yeah, we lost out once big, but that was totally by other
there was lots of mitigating circumstances.
It had nothing to do with the real estate investment that we made. We would have probably still made out pretty well.
Correct. And we bounced back rapidly from that. By the grace of God, by the grace of God. I take no credit for anything.
It's always someone wants to give you a compliment on something, and you're like, thank you. I'm scared because we hold everything with an open hand as far as everything goes.
It could all be gone tomorrow. That's the thing. You can prepare and do all this stuff. I mean, nobody knows.
Yeah.
It could all be gone tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's reality. You got to live every day. You got to love your people, and you got to invest your time in them and and cherish the moments, and and be thankful and praise the Lord and be thankful for everything that you have.
That's right.
8 years ago, we had a lot of stuff, and then all of a sudden we didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. So we're incredibly thankful for what we have, and we're thankful that we lost everything too. Yes. That's all part of the process. Mm-hmm. And the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. God is good. Absolutely. And with that, y'all, we are signing off. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next video.